what I wanted to get to talking about is a couple guys in WWE that WWE is not doing the best job of building up. Um, if they're trying to make a good effort to even build them up whatsoever. Um, and one of those guys is The Miz. Um, again, coming off the momentum of this face turn of switching over to Team Foley, the light side, um, and this long overdue face turn. Um, they put him on the cover of what's earned the reputation as about the fourth biggest pay-per-view of the year, and again he was not much. He was. It seemed like he was just another mid Carter in the match. That got eliminated. Towards the middle of the elimination tag match at Survivor Series. He eliminated one guy. He had about 2 minutes of momentum, solid momentum, and then shortly after that, Del Rio eliminates him. Just great. You know, I, that just wasn't the way I thought they were going to use Miz. I thought Miz was going to be more of an X factor. Um, and again, the next night on Raw, who do they have him face? They have him face David Otunga. What what WWE views as the Carlton Banks of the WWE. What do? They put the guy just was supposed to be a big guy, big deal here in the pay-per-view in the match. If you ask me, it was false advertisement for the Miz here, and the next night they have him face David Utonga, who probably wins about 10% of his single matches in his here on Raw. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, they handled that like a joke. Um, or they are handling this like a joke. They were building up Miz, it appeared, to be a big deal in this match, and he really wasn't. In this tag team match, he really wasn't. The next night on Raw, it doesn't do the company any good that they have him face um, someone who, as long as he doesn't have any drastic gimmick changes, will probably be a mid-carder for life, David Otunga. I have no problem with David Otunga, but just clearly they don't have any big plans in line for him at this stage of the game. It's pretty obvious. It doesn't seem like they're intent on pushing him up anytime soon. So they didn't have a bad match, but it really wasn't an important one. There wasn't too much of a point behind it, and again, it kind of kept Miz looking like a mid Carter. Um, booking was booking him like a mid Carter, and I don't know what WWE's waiting for with him. If they just turned him face, he's got the momentum on his side, but they're booking him like a mid Carter. Even though they'll put him on the cover of a pay-per-view, they're booking him like a mid Carter. That's the bottom line. Another guy, um, Wade Barrett, is a guy that they should. I think they should be pushing him. They should be moving him up too. Since he's come back, he comes back and his first match is Yoshitatsu, and I don't think I've seen him on TV since. And slowly it seems they've been building him up. They've been building him up. They had him in the Survivor Series tag match, and now it appears they're having him go after the Intercontinental Championship. Um, this is another mistake here on WWE's part. He's if Wade Barrett had debuted against Yoshitatsu, that was his first match, and they were building him up. If he didn't have those other few years in his career in the books, I wouldn't have a problem with them having him go after the Intercontinental Championship, building him up to that. Um, but to me, it seems as only they're building him down because the Intercontinental Championship, there are two World Heavyweight championships in this company. The Intercontinental Championship is essentially the third champion in line. All right, Kofi Kingston is essentially the third highest champion, um, and Wade Barrett should not be pushed towards being a possible highest champion. They should be pushing him higher. They should be gearing him up for being a main eventer. I don't understand. I think the perfect guy to build Wade Barrett around is Randy Orton because their feud was kind of cut a little short. Um, but these guys, Orton, even though Orton eventually will probably turn heel, um, I think Orton is a good guy to build Wade Barrett around. These guys have good chemistry in the ring. They can have a legitimate feud that culminates in a big match at a pay-per-view. Like a good Extreme Rules or Falls Count Anywhere match where these guys have some oh my god moments. And Wade Barrett could pick up a big win over Randy Orton and look good and look primed and ready to be a world champion or WWE champion shortly thereafter. But what do they do on Raw? They have him face the Intercontinental Champion Kofi Kingston. I liked how Kofi became Intercontinental Champion, no doubt, and he did have a little momentum there. But Wade Barrett, to me, this is a step down. They should be moving him up towards the upper tier titles. As long as you have two world championships in the company, the Intercontinental Championship is kind of essentially a mid-card title right now. Wade Barrett getting pushed to that, I don't understand what the whole motive behind that is. They should be moving him up. Again, if over the next couple months they, built him more around Randy Orton having a good feud there that culminates in a big win at at Royal Rumble or Tables, Ladders, and Chairs or whatever, where Wade Barrett's looking good. He's looking strong. And a couple more feuds, a few more months, and he could be a legitimate threat in a become a world champion. And effectively, that could keep him as a good heel, or either way as a major player for years, for the next several years to come in the WWE. But it's WWE is, I don't know what they're doing with Miz and Wade Barrett in these scenarios. I mean, what are they waiting for? What are they doing? Pushing them, keeping them down in the mid card when they could easily be building them around these seasoned veterans. I don't understand what they're doing with these guys. I mean, it just seems like they're holding their horses back on these guys, and I don't know why.
You're holding your horses back. You gotta just hold. You're holding back, holding back.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know what WWE's doing with these guys. They're holding back on these mid carders that could potentially be, main eventers for years to come. So we're gonna have to wait and see if they really do continue to have Wade Barrett gun for the Intercontinental Championship. To me, it's a lose-lose. If they continue to do so with Wade Barrett, if you haven't win the Intercontinental Championship, great. He's the third. He's the third highest champion. When he could when in the near future he could be the highest, or at worst the second highest champion in the company. He can be a mid card champion. Essentially, that's what you're having them do if you have them win the championship from Kofi. if you have him loose to it, then you just kind of, you know, buried him a little bit into a hole, you know. So to me, I don't know what they thought in the first place, having him move down the mid card in a sense. Um, when he was to me on the fringe, he's on the fringe. He's an upper mid card, but you know, perhaps he's still an upper mid carder feuding with Kofi Kingston, but not so much in my opinion. He should be getting moved up to the main event picture, as should they should at least be giving these guys a shot, and they're not doing so. So hopefully they do. Um, and I don't know what they're holding back on with these guys. Ziggler, at a decent pace, are they pushing him? But I don't know I don't understand what they're doing with Wade Barrett, the Miz at the moment. Can't figure out the motive behind putting Miz on the cover of Survivor Series, and then basically having him be not much of a factor anyways. Um, there were probably 10 guys on the pay-per-view that had a bigger influence than he did. So I don't understand. You know, I'd like to. I wish I could have some of the creative team on this show to talk to them about it. Vince McMahon, but I mean, I'm a little limited to doing that. So you know, all I can do right now is ask and ask myself why. But hopefully, and just hope that they do the right things with these guys and at least give them a shot, even if they don't get over down the road. At least they're given a shot that they deserve, and we don't possibly we don't miss out on what could be, you know, really good career from either of those guys as a result of giving them that chance. So, having said all that, it's going to wrap it up with this edition of TW Wrestling Talk. Um, you know, it's an interesting time, I think, right now between now and Survivor Series. So we'll look forward to what's to come. Um, thanks for watching this edition of TW Wrestling Talk, and please stay tuned. Um, have a happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much, and just stay tuned for future TW Wrestling Talk coverage here on YouTube. And send in any questions. I encourage that as well. All right, take it easy and continue to stay tuned with TW Wrestling Talk.